So I got into base building the other day in Starfield, and I had way more fun than I thought I was going to have. It's interesting because I wasn't in a base building frame of mind when I first played this game when it launched, and since then, good morning. Since then, I have begun to really enjoy base building in the games I've been playing. And No Man's Sky was the most recent game, which shares some similarities with Starfield. And I've got a different video coming out where I'm going to talk about the base building, outpost building between these two games. But one of the things that struck me immediately here, as I got into things, was there are levels of complexity here that are beyond any of the other base building things I've done in recent months. If you're familiar with Bethesda's Outpost system from like Fallout 4 and Fallout 76, I've played those enough to understand at least the basics of how this works. But because everything is tied to leveling and skills, I didn't understand how much you really had to make a conscious decision to, I'm going to become an outpost builder. Like, it wasn't just this thing where it was like, I'm going to go do the RPG aspect of the game, and then I'm going to come over here and do Outpost, and it's its own thing. It is its own thing, but it's also integrated into the leveling process for Starfield. So what I mean by that is, as an example, if I want to be able to get access to more recipes and to build cooler things at my outpost, I need to have outpost engineering. I've got to level this up. So when I level this up, I get access to improved outpost modules, cutting edge things, and they cost fewer resources to build as we get deeper in. But in order to do this, first and foremost, I have to have skill points to put in. There's essentially 4 ranks here that I have to go through for any of these given abilities. So I need 4 skill points, and you get skill points by leveling a character through the game. So you have to play the game to be able to do this part. It's not like it's completely separate and you can just do it without going out there and exploring the world around you. You do have to go out and explore and do things. Now, there are lots of ways to earn XP. So if you just only want to do like outpost building and space trucking and stuff, you can realistically, you can level up a character that way. It's slow, but you can do it. And you can have your own unique journey in this game, but you will be expected to go out there and level up your character to get access to the points that you're going to need to spend to, first and foremost, take the skills that you need to build outposts and then rank those skills up so you could get the most out of the outpost building, like access to all the recipes. Another really good example is I couldn't build a greenhouse, an outhouse. I couldn't build a greenhouse. I don't know where my brain went with that one. In order to build a greenhouse, I had to have a level in botany, right? And then there is, I gotta find it here, planetary habitation. This is something else that we have to consider in that I can only build planets on basically, or I can only build outposts on normal planets at the moment. So if I want to go to deep freeze and inferno planets, I gotta go level 1 of planetary habs. Rank 2 planetary habs gives me extreme pressure planets. Rank 3 gives me toxic and corrosive base building abilities. And then at rank 4, I could build outposts on planets with extreme gravity. And this also, by the way, increases the number of outposts you can build, which is something that's really intriguing because it means that you can establish multiple outposts on multiple planets, or you can build a mega outpost on any given planet by sort of taking the outpost beacons that you get and placing them in a however you want to be honest with you, because each one gives you a radius that you can build within. So it's incredibly complex, and I didn't realize how much time was going to need to be invested to doing the base building or to do the outpost building in Starfield until I actually started doing it. So yesterday's stream, we did about 8 hours almost, and like 6 hours of that was just working on building this initial structure that I've got down here. And behind me, I've got my star pad, my space pad for my ship. I've got a watchtower here. I've got a watchtower down there, and over there is my base. We can kind of see it poking up. It's a really cool look during the afternoons and evenings and mornings. Mornings, sunrise, sunset, and also at nighttime. It almost reminds me of like Endor in Return of the Jedi. But you can obviously, you know, there's 1,000 planets to explore, right? And of course, some of the detractors out there, by the way, this rover is so badass that they gave us. Some of the detractors out there are going to be like, it's procedurally generated. I don't care. No Man's Sky is procedurally generated, and no one rants about that. So we're not going to rant about it here. We're just going to enjoy what is produced. And I really love the aesthetic of this particular planet. And the trees, the lighting, the mountain behind me, and then of course my badass base right here with my greenhouse. And we can go up here. Actually, let's do this. And we can go into the Outpost build mode and toggle the view. So you can see this radius over here, right? This yellow ring, that's the radius of where we can build. And so we have a whole bunch of places where we can build. I built at the edge of this, and I have this this ridge line right here, which my base butts up against. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep expanding back up the hill along this ridge line so that I have this base that is essentially tucked against the backside of this to protect it from one side. And then we're going to go up the hill as we continue to go. So I have this over here, but then I built a different one over in the direction of the spaceport, which I can't get to at the moment because I'm within this boundary. So when you're in this camera mode, it keeps you in here. But I connected another giant yellow circle up over there, which is where my other watchtower is and where the space dock is for my ship, so that it's a big structure, and I can continue to add things to that if I want to build around. Now, as I understand it, you can do that in, like, you know, No Man's Sky as well. Again, separate video, we're going to be talking about that in greater detail. But I think for me, I'm happy to see that it has all of those things that other games do. But I also appreciate the complexity of having it tied to the leveling system, where you have to go out there and work at it. You know, there's also resources that are needed, and you can set up resource farms and things like that. But as an example, I've hit my first, I don't want to call it a roadblock. I did need to level up my outpost engineering the other day to build some of the things that we have here, but I had the points. I had 3 points just sitting there ready and waiting. The next thing I have to do is, as an example, right now I can only produce, let's get out of the build mode here. I can only produce, oops, that's the wrong one. Hypercatalysts, nutrients, and sealants, right? Apparently I need to eat and drink. I need adhesive, but I can't do adhesive because there are no animals on, or plants, excuse me, there's no plants on this planet that have that resource. So what I would need to do is go to another planet, build another greenhouse. I would have to build another base, build another greenhouse with its own power station and water station. I would need to do that on a planet where the plant life, I don't know why I keep saying animals. I would need to do that in an area where the plant life provides me with the adhesive, which I can then create. And then after that, I would need to set up a transfer chain or a cargo chain where the output of that planet gets transported to wherever it is. It's probably going to be here, you know, but wherever I end up sending that, which can then be, once it's harvested and everything else is refined, I can then take it out of a storage container just like this. There's sealant as an example. I need adhesive for many of the building structures. So if I want to create a supply chain like that, that requires me to go out and explore planets, to find a planet that has the proper types of plants, to then build an outpost, to build a greenhouse, and all the cargo chains and everything else. It's a pretty serious time investment. Plus I have to have the engineering points, and I have to have botany, and I have to have all these. And not only that, but in order to create that plant on that other planet, I would need to fully survey that plant on its planet. So the way surveying works is when you're in this menu, if you see a node, there's one over here that we could look at. I think we've already, it says blue, these right here, blue weeping shrub. It says 100% scanned, and it's green or teal. So when it's not, it's blue. And it'll say over on the right, it'll say like 15%, 17%, 13%, whatever it says. And in order to rank it up, you have to go explore and find more of these types of plants to scan, and eventually you get to 100% understanding of that plant. So you have to do that in order to be able to make those in the greenhouse, as I understand it. So it's a pretty complex system in terms of all the things you have to do before you can get. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. To the various base building components. I see a lot of similarities here with some of the other crafting survival games I've played, but I love the art style in Starfield. It just really, I love that NASA punk style. And on top of everything else, if you want to get really deep into this and you want to get the best recipes and everything else, but I haven't done any interior decorating yet, guys.
Anything I can do for you?
We would need to come here to the research station. Research lab, and I would need to go into the Outpost development section, and I would need to go to, as an example, what would I need to get domestication? Oh, I'm going to need zoology. Well, so that means I'm going to have to go learn zoology to be able to get rank 1 of domestication, and then future ranks of domestication will require me to have more than likely more ranks of zoology, which is something else that I would have to level up. These ones just required outpost engineering, but then you get into here and you look at this ridiculous list of things that is required to research. So on top of all the materials that you need to craft with, you also need to worry about it for the research component. And some of these are incredibly hard to find and or can only be purchased and or found as drops throughout the world. They can't be harvested. Like lubricant, which is there. I don't have any lubricant. And the reason is because lubricant is not easy to get your hands on. So finding lubricant means you have to go out of your way to physically look for merchants and things and find lubricant, or go explore bases and stuff. So there is a lot going on here in terms of the outpost system. And again, if you want all the decorations, and you want all of the greenhouses, you want all of the power generation types, and you want to be able to manufacture the coolest stuff, and you want to be able to harvest the best resources in the best way, and you want the best possible building structures, you obviously have to max all of this stuff out. So there is a major time investment when you look at all of the things that you need to do to fully invest in outpost building in Starfield, which is one of the reasons why, for me, when I look at this, I do genuinely question some of the reviews now that came out in the early days of Starfield, where people had negative things to say about the outpost building. Because to me, I look at all this stuff and I'm like, there's no way that you could possibly understand all the nuances of outpost building in Starfield unless you've invested dozens of man hours into actually playing the game and going through here and building bases and leveling up and getting the resources and actually finding things like lubricant that you're not going to find those in 30 minutes of gameplay. You know what I mean? So I'm pleased. I am very glad that I saved this for my second playthrough when I had already done the storyline, because this would have this is a complete journey in and of itself. This is not something that I would want to do while I'm playing storyline. This is one of those things where it's like, okay, I'm going to go build a base, and that's all I'm going to do for a window of time. Maybe I take a break and go do more quests, but I'm glad I waited until I was in my second playthrough to get into this, because this is a super complex system. And honestly, I can't wait to see where they go with this over the next 5, 6, 8, 10 years, and add to this system, because they've got a great core here. I would love more recipes, more habitat types. I realize that some people are like, well, that's what the mods are for. Yes, the creators are going to create amazing things there, but I like to stick to what are the official things released. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they continue to flesh this system out as we get deeper into. Like, I have no idea in Shattered Space. Like, are there new things we can get from those places? Like new recipes? I don't know. I just don't know yet. But I'm really enjoying Outpost building. There's going to be more of this. I have, as an example, the Let's Play series that we're doing right now, which is the live streams cut into 30-minute episodes that are specifically, because there's a lot of things we do in the live streams, and sometimes we'll go do quests for 2 hours, then we'll do base building for 2 hours. So I take the base building parts of those streams and I pull them out into 30-minute episodes here on YouTube. So make sure to check that series out. And I've also got a future video coming up later this week talking about base building in Starfield versus No Man's Sky, because that's the most recent one we've done, and I think it's got some of the closest mechanics and gameplay functionality in terms of the outpost building and base building loop. So I would love to dive into that a little bit more and talk about what I love about each one and where I think each system could improve a little bit as well and learn from each other. But I'm having a great time. Hopefully you're having a great time. Hopefully I'll see you in the next episode. Like, subscribe, hit that bell icon. Every single day, daily streams on YouTube and Twitch, morning and afternoons. We will see you in the next one, everybody. Stay safe out there. Happy building.